know what? I want to talk about Stallone real quick. There was this dust up recently, taking you back even farther. There was this tweet that Frank Stallone put out, and it was pretty angry. He was just really going off. And then it was backed up by Stallone. And if I clip this out, I'll probably put that tweet here so you can see it. But then recently, we've seen the new Creed 3 trailer. Which it does. I watched the trailer. It looks decent. I'll give it that. Okay, the movie could be great. All right. And then Stallone recently just talked about he's disappointed. He's separated himself from the franchise. I have the news story over here. So Sylvester Stallone is not being a part of Creed 3 franchise, is going in a dark space. He wouldn't have taken it. And you know what? Every filmmaker is going to have their own vision, and I would never take that away from anybody. I'm not saying that I want this to go in the direction that Stallone wants it to go. I'll get to my take on it after I kind of read through this with you guys, because I'm seeing a lot of opinions go around about this, and most of them are stating that Stallone should shut up in color. Should shut up in color. And maybe there's some truth to that, but I kind of have a differing opinion on that, okay? And I'm going to go through that with you. But the third film in the Rocky franchise spinoffs, Creed 3, is coming out in just a few months, and it will be the first of the movies not to include Rocky Balboa, played by the creator of the character, Sylvester Stallone, who, by the way, also created the character of Apollo Creed. The actor confirmed 2 years ago that he would not be returning for the role of Rocky, who served in the first 2 Creed movies as a mentor and coach to Michael B. Jordan's Adonis Creed, but it's still a sensitive subject for the actor. Just a few months ago, it was reported that Stallone took to social media to lament the fact that although Stallone created the character Rocky, wrote all the films, and even directed most of them, he has no rights to the still popular movies. The ownership rights to the franchise belong in full to Irwin Winkler, producer of the film. It's a total miscarriage of justice, and it still haunts Stallone. But it's not exactly the whole reason the actor isn't returning. In a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Stallone talked about the new movie, and he said, "That's a regretful situation because I know what it could have been. It was taken in a direction that is quite different than I would have taken it. It's a different philosophy. Irwin Winkler's and Michael B. Jordan's. I wish them well, but I'm much more of a sentimentalist. I like my heroes getting beat up, but I don't want them going into that dark space." And by the way, guys, I believe in the Rocky was supposed to die. I think in like Stallone wrote quite a few drafts of the first movie. One of them, Rocky dies, but Rocky was a much darker character in an early version of the draft too. Inflict. It's especially like the loan shark aspect of him and inflicting a lot of bodily harm. He was a much more cynical character, and I think, like any writer, when you are developing a character, you're going to go through stages where the character might not be the same at the beginning as he ends up being. And I think Stallone went through many trials and tribulations to figure out who Rocky was as a character. And I think he created the perfect version of one of the most inspiring characters ever. You can kind of compare Rocky to Luke Skywalker. And we've seen Mark Hamill said, "Hey, it's not my character anymore, so I don't look at him as Luke Skywalker. I look at him as a different character." I think he said Jake Skywalker. The point I'm trying to make is Stallone wanted that world and that character to be different. Now, I will give the credit to Michael B. Jordan and whoever wrote Creed 3. Creed's son is not Rocky. So I'm not saying I want Creed's son to be Rocky. Okay? My big hang up, we'll get to that. All right. I don't need this new approach. I don't think this new approach will make the movie bad necessarily. It just might make fans wonder if if it will still have the same feeling as other films. But Michael B. Jordan, who also is making his directorial debut with Creed 3, previously reported, I think that Sly let it be known that he wasn't coming back for this one, but I think, his essence and his spirit, there's always going to be a little bit of Rocky within Adonis. But this is a Creed franchise, and we also want to build this story and this world around him moving forward. So it's always respect and always a shit ton of love for what he's built. But we really want to push and navigate Adonis forward and the family he created. I have no problem with them going forward and making a new Creed movie. The character Creed can move on without the character of Rocky. I think that's fine. To pull up my points here, because like I said, there's a lot of speculation about this, a lot of opinions about this, stating that Stallone should shut up in color. This isn't his baby anymore. You can kind of compare this to George Lucas, Ripping the Band-Aid off, okay? I'm Team Stallone, all right? I think I think the situation could have been handled better in terms of the rights. I think there's probably a lot behind the scenes that we don't know. Sylvester Stallone has never made a stink before this situation that I'm aware of. He's never kind of went off and stated this is not right, because he did post those like vampiric pictures. I think there's more to this story that we don't know. I think something went on behind the scenes, and some things were said that really set him off. And you can kind of tie it to that scene in Rocky Balboa where he says, I'm just asking for you to do what's right. If Rocky was one movie, if there was never a franchise made, they made one movie, the contract was signed. Nothing you can do about it. Fair is fair. You go on with your life. You do. You continue your acting career, directing career, whatever. I would have no problem with the Chardoffs and what they did, and Winkler. Here's my situation. Here's my thought on this, though. This is a guy that not only created a movie, but he created a franchise, and you had 6 movies, which then created Creed and Creed 2, and now Creed 3. Okay? So that's 9 movies that this guy has created. And he's went back time and time again to say, hey, I know I've made a lot of money throughout my career. That's not a mystery. Everybody knows, but I worked my ass off for the money I made. But is it so wrong because I've made MGM, Winkler's, Chardoffs? Stallone has made those guys millions and millions and bazillions of dollars because of this franchise that, for the most part, Stallone wrote. He created these characters. He directed most of the movies. He wrote most of the movies. All the guy is asking for is just a piece of the pie. That's it. And this isn't new territory. There have been cases in the past where studios took a step back and looked at a situation and thought, you know what? Maybe we should do what's right. Titanic is a great example. James Cameron's Titanic. At a certain point, the well ran dry. The valve was shut off. For the money coming in. So James Cameron had to sit back and watch this movie become the highest grossing movie of all time. And just money just freaking flowing out of a faucet. And he could have none of it. And he didn't really bitch about it. But this is one movie, okay? One movie that made a fuck ton of money, all right? What did the studio do? The studio actually went back and they looked at that contract and they said, you know what? Let's do the right thing. This guy put everything on the line for this movie. Let's give him some of this back. And they did that. They gave James Cameron some of the money back for Titanic. That's what's right. I know everybody says that contracts are contracts and shut up in color, but I guarantee you, every one of you right now, if you wrote a story and you had a deal, a contract, and and everything's fine. I'm not bitching. But then all of a sudden, you wrote, let's just say you had 8 sequels. You created a world. You created a franchise. And if you went back to that company that is freaking pulling up in their, in their limousines and living high on the hog, and money is just flowing into their bank accounts off of content that you keep creating over and over and over and over again, it wouldn't settle that well with you after a while. I guarantee you. It would. That's the way I would see it. I'd be like, hold on, I'm giving you guys a freaking a mountain of freaking cash that keeps coming. With, by the way, physical media releases, action figures. The financial possibilities are endless. Okay, I think you might get a little butthurt. And it wouldn't be the worst thing to go back and say, hey, can we maybe try to give me he's not even asking for, he just wants a piece. Just, can I get a little piece? And the reason Stallone was doing this, by the way, because the guy's in his 70s. He knows he doesn't have that long left. This is not to get him richer. He's got, he wipes his ass with $100 bills right now. Okay. When you look at the Winklers and the Chardoffs, their families are getting that money. Stallone wants his daughters to have a piece of that Rocky pie, and their kids down the line, Spread it across to everybody, especially the guy who wrote it. So it just drives me crazy when I hear all these opinions and these people keep saying, Stallone, shut up and color. You don't deserve any of it. You don't deserve any. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's nothing wrong with changing a contract, guys. It happens all the time, okay? I'm Team Stallone. And I'm not mad at Michael B. Jordan, and I'm not mad that they're making another movie. I just think to me it's about just like Rocky said, it's about doing what's right.